Sarah.
Thanks, Adrian. And now we find out where I'm togged up in all this lovely regalia. Well, this is a seafood factory, and they're preparing some wonderful morsels behind me that, believe it or not, you might well eat, even if you don't come anywhere near Devon, because these often end up in pubs described as homemade by the pub. But we'll find out more about that later. And this factory is set up here in Brixham, which of course is famous throughout the world really for its fish. It's been dependent on fish for a long time, and there are many trawlers which work out of Brixham. And in fact, Brixham has one of the largest fish markets in Britain, and certainly it's the centre of the fish industry in Devon, along with, of course, Newlyn in Cornwall. It's an industry which has been in great turmoil. Of course, we saw protests last year, and in an industry which has somewhat been in decline. But in areas like this, there are a huge selection of small companies that have set up. This is a classic one. There was a family-owned firm. What happened? Somebody else came in, took it over, closed them down. Now what has happened? The daughter of the family, who we'll be hearing from in a minute, has set up her own company. 10 years on, this is it. Let's have a look at what they make and how they do it. It all starts with these scallop shells, and believe it or not, there's a firm in Newcastle which collects these from around the country, sterilises them, prepares them, and sells them to the food industry like here. Now here, as we can see, Daniel's putting some fish in. What we've got is local plaice, local whiting, scallops from the Isle of Man. And what Daniel's adding is salmon. And believe it or not, on various products throughout the year, they get through 200 tons of salmon in this place. All comes from Norway, interestingly. Now here we have a white wine sauce, which is made on the premises, and that's put on the top. And as you can see, some prawns have been added. And when we come down here to Bob, what Bob's doing is putting the mashed potato on the top, very fancy. And the mashed potato is made here too. We come further down, and as we can see, what's been added on top here is some cheese and parsley. Now, one of the things about this company is it's very adaptable. If, for instance, some of the suppliers said, we don't want cheese and parsley, we want tomato on the top, then they could do that. And they also make other products. For instance, stuffed plaice with, say, prawns inside and a garlic sauce or something like that. And that's the secret. And there are now 36 people working here. And the company actually has an annual turnover of £2.5 million, which, when you think about it, is an awful lot of pub lunches. So let's hear from Alison Hannaford, the managing director of this company. Now, many of us have probably eaten these coquilles Saint-Jacques behind you that are being prepared, or about to anyway. I mean, how do they end up in the pubs that we might have eaten them in?
Well, we actually sell to some of the large themed restaurant chains and pub chains, and we work on menu development with them. When products are listed, they have their own central distribution network set up. So we would send products out in pallet quantities into a central distribution, and they'd then be taken from there into the individual pubs. Now,
because you deal with big boys, if you like, isn't there a big danger that somebody could come in and take you over, as happened to your father's original family firm?
I suppose there could be, but I wouldn't always see that as necessarily something that would be detrimental for the business. I'm not actively looking to sell it, but I mean, if the offer came along, I don't think we'd be quite as naive this time as we were last time, because I want to see Paramount grow. I mean, that's sort of, you know, my dream, really.
But all companies need to grow, don't they, and to steadily keep growing. How do you grow when you're dependent on the wholesalers in the middle, really?
Well, there's a lot of business out there in the UK to have in the food service, and I think the food service industry generally is growing quite rapidly. There are a number of customers out there, and I think there's plenty of business for everybody.
And is it the case that as Whitbread opens more pubs, for instance, to choose one example, that's more business for you, or do they go to other people, for instance, some people up near Fleetwood or something, to do the same thing in competition to you?
No, I think once you've developed the relationships with the customers that you're working with, then obviously you get some sort of inherent growth when they're going through their growth patterns as well. You know, which is a benefit to the business, obviously.
Now, how much are you here because of Brixham being famous for fish, or how much are you just here because you could be anywhere else in the UK? I mean, like the salmon comes from Norway, doesn't it?
Well, it does, but I mean, I love Devon. My family are from this area. We've lived in this area for sort of 25 years, since my father set up his own business. It's a lovely part of the world to live. You've got fresh fish on your doorstep, and we use Brixham and Portsdown as far as Newlyn for regular day fish. You get good quality product down here. Lovely place to be.
When you go to a pub and you see homemade coquilles Saint-Jacques on the menu and you know full well it's yours, does it make you angry?
No, I think I'm very pleased. I mean, I don't think pubs would actually say homemade if it wasn't homemade. They may describe it as a handmade product, and of course our products are handmade. So,
Alison Hannaford, thanks very much, and back to you, Adrian.
Sarah Dickins, thank you very much.